that was actually the first winter that we moved up here. We we had been in the house for a couple of months, and we didn't have any windows or anything. We didn't have any heat. It was basically just a wooden box that we were living in, and my dad had to go out of town on a business trip to do some consulting work or something. And we had a really bad storm, and it was my mom and my two sisters and me. We were all sort of huddled together in my mom's bed with all the blankets that we could find, and they had this little kerosene heater on inside the house, which I'm sure you weren't actually supposed to have inside. But it was, it was really scary. It was a bad storm, and we were okay because the property had been logged, so there weren't any trees or anything that could come down. But my dad came back, I think then like the next day or the day after was when he got back, and that in that sort of storm or those sets of storms that winter, there were a lot of people who had trees come down on their homes, who were trapped in their homes for a couple of days, who just couldn't get out and get groceries or anything. So I remember we had this big old dump truck at the time. So I remember him just getting on the phone in the kitchen and, calling everybody that he knew that had a four-wheel drive vehicle. And everybody was sort of coordinating amongst themselves and finding out who were neighbors that were elderly that they hadn't seen for a couple of days, who were the people that they were worried about. And, everybody who was able to went around and checked on their neighbors and, made sure that the people who needed stuff, whose houses were damaged, that they were okay. And, again, it comes back to community, right? And when you're involved in your community, sorry, I'm getting all, everybody becomes your family. And you do have an obligation to them. You have an obligation to treat them right. And, hopefully they'll treat you right because of that.